Does it drive you crazy when someone asks, "What do you envision for the future? Where do you want to be in 5 years?" Do you want to just scream and say, "Please just get me through today. Do not ask me about tomorrow"? Maybe you've never taken the time to peer into the future. Perhaps some authority figure from your past slapped you back into the present when you were dreaming. They forbid you to dream. Might have been teachers, parents, maybe even friends or church leaders that have shamed you for being a visionary or dreaming about the future. Can you remember a time when someone maybe tried to clip your wings, telling you dreaming was frivolous or unrealistic? It was my second grade teacher. She wasn't even my teacher. She was a long-term substitute for my favorite teacher, Mrs. Patterson. And truth be told, I don't even remember her name. Well, Mrs. I don't remember her name stood like a tall, dark pillar in front of the class day after day. Her gray hair was wrapped in a tight bun on top of her head, and she wore glasses. Her wardrobe consisted of maybe 2 or 3 dresses, all in dark drab colors. It wasn't a very inviting presence. She would cast a shadow of doubt over my moldable soul. As a little second grade Misty, I wanted to be noticed. And when it came time to share our list of prepositions one day, being ignored became almost too unbearable. Every time she'd turn around to inquire of the class about what prepositions they had come up with, I'd raise my hand a little bit higher. I'd stretch my little second grade arm way up, thinking, if I can just get my hand up above everyone else, she has to notice. Soon I was making those noises like ooh, ooh, and I was ready to stand up and shout, "Pick me, pick me," only to be rebuked in front of the whole class for my enthusiasm. Well, over the months, Mrs. I don't remember her name's shadow loomed over my soul. My zeal for learning and dreaming and processing verbally was overlooked and condemned. And as a result, the dreamer in me learned to sit down and shut up. So, marvelous mom, whether it was a parent or even a well-meaning friend, their words may have left you feeling ashamed of who you are, how you feel, or the magical dreams of your own soul. Here on Mom to Mom Mentoring, we're learning to take captive those thought patterns and lies that have held us back. We are learning together how to craft a vision of what our Father says about us and to step into that reality. We explore and celebrate those dreams and empower you to reclaim them with confidence. If you find yourself envisioning a brighter future, but regularly struggle to turn your dreams into a reality, you are not alone. Marvelous Mama, I see that woman who is wandering around in the desert of the day to day, afraid to consider the future, stuck in the same old, or maybe just too weary to think about any tomorrows. But here you are. You're a woman who longs to live from that heart of abundance, a woman who changes the atmosphere of her home, her workplace, and her community. And on today's episode of Mom to Mom Mentoring, I'm going to share with you a simple yet strange secret that will empower you to move forward into the discovery of that woman you long to be. My mission as your mom mentor is to help you get there, to help you become more of who you are created to be from the inside out. Today's episode is all about discovering that vision that lies hidden beneath the pain, the busyness, the stuckness, or just plain tired. Now, Mama, let me be clear. I'm not talking about creating a 5-year plan on today's episode. No, absolutely not. But after today's episode, you will have more clarity on the simplicity of your beautiful calling and who you are becoming. Hey there, Marvelous Mama. I am your gratitude guide, celebration coach, captivating keynote speaker, tried and true mom mentor, Misty Hughes, here to help guide you into your own bright tomorrow. I'm with you on this great adventure because I found my way through the hard days. I've discovered the power of hope for tomorrow, and I believe in the power of God to bring you into your own promised land. Beloved Mama, I know it's easy to get stuck in the same old patterns of the past and wonder, what's the point? When I got stuck, messed up, became discouraged and depressed, vision is what kept me going. Sometimes that vision wasn't much, but it was enough to get me out of bed. I had to keep it simple, and I'm here today to give you the help you need to do the same. I'm here to encourage you, to share nuggets of wisdom, and to answer your hard questions when you get tripped up or feel stuck. In fact, I've made it super easy for you to reach out and ask your questions. Just hop on my podcast page and record your questions. I'll put the link in the show notes for you. So, my beloved sister, I'm here today to invite you into one thing. Yep, remember? Just one thing. And the invitation today is simply to discover your own becoming vision. You know, it's a vision of who you want to become. Are you ready to gain some clarity on this vision for your future? Well, whether you're driving the kids to school, from school, driving to work, maybe you're folding the laundry, or maybe you're rummaging through those cabinets right now, wondering, where in the world did I hide my chocolate? Perhaps you're fixing your hungry family dinner or picking up a pizza on the way home. No matter where you are, I'm going to ask that you just give yourself the next 20 minutes to begin to discover that vision of who you want to become. Are you ready? Let's get started. You know, marvelous friend of mine, I want to record these podcasts in a way that I can just be with you, no matter what you're doing. I know you're really busy, and half the time you're wandering around in a fog. I mean, how can you not? You're trying to remember just the next thing. Anyway, I get it. There's so many moving parts that we try to manage as moms, kind of waiting for the next shoe to fall or the next thing to drop. Today, talking about vision might feel kind of like way too much. But hey, Mom, hang with me. I'm going to add a sweet little twist to the idea of vision. And like always, I really want to keep it simple. You see, over 30 years ago, I had a plan for my future that came crashing down around my feet. It was not a pretty sight. In fact, I was pretty messy. Life stopped and the world just looked dark. I just sat in stunned silence, and I really didn't have any hope for the future. I could not even talk myself into a brighter tomorrow. It seems like I just woke up one morning not knowing who I was or where I was going. You see, my plan or vision had been to be a wife, a mom. I was going to work. I helped at church. I was very involved in the homeschool world and had helped to develop a homeschool networking group. My vision or my plans were all tied in to what I was doing. It was all about my roles in life. But I realized I needed something more. I needed something that couldn't be taken away by the sheet of a paper that said I was no longer married. I needed something that didn't change when my kids turned 18 and moved out of the house. I needed something that couldn't change if I lost a job. And my dear friend, I'm going to be bold and I'm going to state, you do too. You need something more than your role, your titles, what others say about you to be your vision. You need to have a vision that an educator, a parent, a friend, a spouse, no one can take away from you. Something that doesn't rust or mold or decay over time. And that, my friend, drum roll please, is what I call a becoming vision. It's about having clarity on who you are becoming, and that keeps you moving forward. Scripture backs this up in Proverbs 29. We are told, without a vision, the people perish. This has been one of my favorite all-time go-to passages. And it always reminds me of that time that God sent the nation of Israel on a journey through the desert for 40 years. Now, if you remember, the older generation had lost sight of who they were as children of the mighty God. They felt like they would be overwhelmed and overcome by the giants in the land. And as a result, they ended up perishing in the desert. They didn't have that vision of who they were, or more importantly, whose they were. In other words, and this is how I word it, without a vision, I will wander around in the desert for 40 years, grumbling, complaining, living in fear, and then I will die. So the vision that I'm talking about is not what you want to do, but simply about who you want to become. I hear it all the time, and I even say it myself. Oh, I need to be doing this. I should be this. I could. I would. These are such yucky doing words. So today, I would like to invite you to pack those little doing words up, maybe leave them outside. You could, if you're driving, just throw them out the window. Now, after this episode, you might think, oh my goodness, I need those doing words. They keep me going. And if you do, just go back and pick them up. But for now, I'd just like us to leave those doing words outside the door. Now, I had promised that I was going to share a strange secret with you. And I have a friend, mentor. His name is Earl Nightingale. And in 1956, he shared this story about the strangest secret. Think of a ship leaving a harbor. It's got its complete voyage all mapped out and planned. The captain and the crew know exactly where it's going and how long it will take. It has a definite destination, a vision, a goal. Now, 99 times out of 100, that ship will get to where it's going. But let's look at another ship. It's just like the first, only let's not put a crew or a captain on this ship. Let's not give it a vision or a destination, no goal. We just start the engines and we let it go. Now, I think you'll agree with me that if that ship gets out of the harbor at all, it will either sink or perish. It can't go anyplace because it has no destination, no vision, and no guidance. Well, beloved mom, it's the same with you, and it's the same with me. Without a vision, we will be just like that ship. We will perish. And it might seem simple, but it is a strange secret. So, what is a vision? Well, the dictionary describes a vision as something to see or perceive, an act of our imagination. You can create a mental picture that can be used to direct your actions. Vision serves as a guide and can be used to provide a sense of purpose. Wow. Just like those dark days 30 years ago, I needed a sense of purpose. So this is the strangest secret. We become what we think about all day long. And this, my marvelous, marvelous mom, is why it is so vitally important that we think about who we want to become, not what we want to do, because we become what we think about all day long. And simply put, if we're not thinking about, if we're not giving any consideration to who we want to become, we will become like that derelict ship. We will wander and we will perish. So imagine, if you will, a hoverboard. Now, I know you're probably thinking, Misty, what in the world does a hoverboard have to do with a becoming vision? Hang with me. You see, every summer, my husband and I have the amazing privilege of hosting our granddaughters for a week at a time. It is one of my favorite times of the year. Well, being the gregarious Grammy that I am, I plan a week filled of fun and excitement and new adventures. Well, it was preparing for one of these eventful occasions that I decided a hoverboard was in order. Yes, a hoverboard. So, being the adventuresome soul that I am, I had to give it a try. So, my husband was standing there, and I placed my hand gingerly on his shoulder to balance myself. I put one foot on the hoverboard and then the other. Are you with me? Now, to all my hoverboarding mamas out there, raise your hand. You know, the first time you step on that hoverboard, it's a little shaky. And needless to say, I was more than a little shaky. But I took a deep breath. I began to center myself, to focus, and to catch a vision of myself standing on the hoverboard. You know what? It happened. And after a few minutes, I started to envision myself moving on the hoverboard, like actually going forward. And you know what? Yeah, I started to move forward. Then I got really brave. And well, first I came to a stop again. And then I got really brave. And I began to envision myself moving backward and eventually even turning in circles. Soon I was riding up and down the street on the hoverboard. We have a lot of neighbors that are out walking dogs on a pretty day, and they would stop and look and even ask, how do you make that go? I would say, I don't really know. Beloved mom, all I know is that the hoverboard moved simply and strangely because I was thinking about where I wanted to go. And as a young mother, I wanted to think about who I was becoming. I wanted to become more faithful. I wanted to be a mother who was faithful to God and her kids and others. I wanted my kids to understand the joy of faithfulness. I wanted them to live in the reality of faithfulness. That was the vision of who I wanted to become, a faithful woman. And the beautiful thing was, this becoming vision helped me influence and make an impression on my children and others. This becoming vision helped me answer questions like, should I be involved in this? Should I date? Which job will align with who I am becoming as a faithful woman? A becoming vision can help make better decisions. A becoming vision can provide a tangible way to arrange life. This becoming vision is simply about being transformed from the inside out. The Word of God tells you, you are being transformed from glory to glory. And in Jeremiah 29:11, we're told that God knows the plans He has for us. He knows who you are created to become. And He desires you to be that daughter, fully alive, living abundantly, moving and being who you are created to be. Today's podcast episode is simply about inviting you to consider partnering with the Father's vision for your life. Without a vision, we will undergo transformation, but it may look more like from gory to gory instead of glory to glory. You see, You are becoming who God created you to be. And developing a becoming vision aids you in that transformation. Maybe I've convinced you. Maybe you're saying, okay, Misty, I get it. But how do I do this? Remember, I'm a busy mom. I'm managing multiple schedules, multiple people, multiple roles. I'm wearing all these hats. How do I do this? Remember when we stepped on the hoverboard? What did I do first? I had to catch my breath. So, beloved mom, just take a deep breath. Remember, there is no rush. Right now, the fact that you are even considering this becoming vision is taking a step forward. It's actually putting a foot on that hoverboard. That's a win. That's something to celebrate. I'd like to invite you to take a celebration moment. I am all about celebration, and it is so beautiful to learn how to celebrate progress. You've made progress today. Let's celebrate. Do you have a confetti cannon, or you can just dance a little jig, make a little movement, or if you found that chocolate stash, just take an extra bite. Remember, it's a win. It's progress, even if you're considering this. Now, I'm going to give you a few ways that you can navigate through this sea of thoughts that you might be swimming in. There may be so many ideas that you have about who you want to become that you could start to feel a little overwhelmed. And you might want to start doing and not being. But I'm here with you, and I want to keep it simple. And I want to remind you that your good Father knows your frame, and He wants to keep it simple for you. Remember Jeremiah 29:11, where He says, I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. Remember that, Mom. God has a plan. He has a plan for who you are becoming. It can be as simple as asking God, who do you say that I am? Remember, He's the one that formed you. He knows you. He knows the plans and the purpose. So you can whisper these thoughts and these prayers to your Father. You can ask Him in those in-between moments when you're driving somewhere. You can ask Him when you're folding the laundry. This does not have to be a sit down in my prayer chair with my Bible and my journal kind of prayer. Just ask these prayers in between. Continue to ask, wait, and watch. If you'd like to be a bit more proactive, here's a few other ideas that you can think about as you're considering this becoming vision and as it begins to take shape within your heart. Okay, think about a character trait that you would like your kids to emulate, to have when they leave home. Remember, mine was faithfulness. Not only did I want my kids to see faithfulness displayed in me, I wanted my kids to leave home being faithful men and women. Consider a virtue, a value that you would love to see displayed in your kids when they leave home. That means it's pretty important to you. And this can help mold your becoming vision. Another thing that you might want to think about as you're developing this becoming vision is the women that you admire. Not all of them, just think of 2 or 3. Are you thinking about them? Ask yourself, what is it about each of these women that I admire? What is it that I would like to emulate? Your answer to this question can also help form your becoming vision. Mom, these are just 2 simple things for you to consider as you're allowing this becoming vision to take shape within your heart. Just watch and wait. And just by listening to this podcast, thinking about it, and starting to ask the questions and pray the prayers, you are moving toward that vision of who you are becoming and who you're created to be. Now,
This is all about keeping it simple. This is just about one thing. And today, that one thing is discovering who you want to become. I am so glad you tuned into Mom to Mom Mentoring today. I really appreciate you spending your valuable time with me. Remember, amidst the chaos, the hustle, and the bustle of life, don't forget to hold that becoming vision before you. You are what you think about. You become what you think about all day long. Keep pressing toward your high calling. Keep expecting and inviting yourself into who you want to become. And hey, take a moment, hop on over to our Facebook group, Mom to Mom Mentoring. I'll put the link in the show notes for you. And share your becoming vision with us. Share that word or phrase of who you're becoming. And by the way, when you share that vision, when you speak it out to others, you're sharing your expectation and you're inviting yourself into that space. Isn't that awesome? So until next time, take care, Mom. Stay awesome and keep rocking that mom life. Bye for now.